And welcome back to the Survivor Girl podcast, you guys. Thank you for tuning in to episode number 5. I'm here with my lovely co-host, Becky.
Hello, everyone.
And also tonight we have a special guest. We have Suzan Moody here in the studio. I said that right?
Suzan Moody.
Yes, I did. All right.
Yay.
I always say that because I am notorious for saying names wrong. And we are glad to have you here. We're so excited that you're here today. You have an incredible story. We got to talk a little bit last time I seen you over at Healthy Habitz.
Right.
So I guess go ahead and tell
Disclaimer.
Disclaimer first.
Yes.
Sorry. Yes, go ahead with that.
Of course, we are not medically trained professionals. So we're not doctors, therapists, counselors. We're here. We're not here to treat, diagnose, or prescribe any means of treatment. We are here to share what we've been through in the hopes of inspiring and empowering others to do the same in their lives.
Yeah. So thank you for the disclaimer.
You're
We just like
welcome.
to put that out there because, like she said, we are not doctors, we're not therapists or anything, but we are here to share not just our stories, but to bring other guests on to share their stories as well. So that if it's something that you're going through in life and that you need to hear, or you know somebody that needs to hear it, that you're able to pass that along. So, it's all about not feeling alone. And, we all go through these things, and it's good to know that you're not alone, as hard as that may be sometimes. So
Yes.
So if you don't mind going ahead and talking a little bit about what you do, and then we can get into your survivor story.
Sure. I appreciated the disclosure. I am a certified natural health practitioner, which
Awesome.
means I'm a health coach. I
Okay.
don't diagnose, I don't treat, I don't prescribe,
Right.
but I often recommend things for people coming in. And
she's great at what she does too, guys, by the way.
well,
So
yeah, it's been great to have you in the store. It's a fun little community store. We have organic foods and homeopathics and
nice
remedies, and it's been a real blessing for me because of some of the things I've been through, which we were gonna share.
We'll get into. Yeah.
I
mean, and the store is incredible. It's Healthy Habitz over in Frankenmuth, and they've been open for quite a long time, haven't they?
Yeah, Pam Warner opened it 20 years ago, so it's got quite a history of helping people.
Yeah. All kinds of different stuff there. I mean, you guys even have like a vitamin D, like tanning bed. Well,
yeah, Dr. McCullough's vitamin D booth, which when the sun hits our skin, it actually creates a water-soluble vitamin D, which is the happy vitamin.
Yes.
It gets us a good mood.
Yeah.
And so you're making your own vitamin D with the booth.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's
very,
really great.
very cool.
Yeah.
But you do something a little bit different there. And if you wanted to explain.
I'm actually, I do manage the supplement section, and I'm a detox specialist.
Okay.
So, in 2006, I was in chronic migraines 24/7. So it wasn't, am I having migraine? I'm at a migraine, and,
wow.
Is it a 3, a 5, or is it a 10? And I'm in bed in the dark room with tears down my eyes. So
yeah.
At that time, there was a lot of stress in my household.
Right.
Yep.
So, and I think a lot of people don't realize that migraines, if you never had them, like I have had a couple here and there, but nothing to that extreme. And I think if you have not ever had them, you don't understand how that can stop you in your tracks. Like it can throw off your entire day. And I've seen people push through, but at that point,
it's rough.
It is.
It's rough.
I can't even begin to imagine everything that you had gone through.
Yeah, I had my kids were smaller, and I was missing stuff.
Yeah,
I was missing a lot of stuff.
Yeah,
and I ended up turning to a natural system of detox, and that was so helpful for me. It was life changing.
Yeah. So, I guess. Can you tell a little bit about that, or is that kind of how it folds into with your story?
No, it was an ionic foot spa. So
okay.
I'm going to now get into my detox stuff. So,
okay.
Normally, the human body detoxes about 90% down the toilet. We flush urine, feces, 1% out through our lungs, carbon dioxide, and 9-ish% we sweat through our skin.
Okay.
So this is just a system to help the skin sweat. And we do it through the feet, which are the largest pores of the body. Hands and underarms are next largest. So it's amazing if it's a skin issue or a toxicity issue.
Yeah.
It helps really well. And the first time I tried one, I was in about a level 10 migraine, and I could barely like see I got my equipment in the mail and trying to put it together and trying to get it plugged in. And it was amazing because a couple of weeks before, Imatrix is a common medication for migraines, and I had taken 6 doses in one day because one of my kids had something, and which was kind of a stupid thing to do, but I think one of my kids was at a recital, and I did not want to miss it.
Right.
And so what was really interesting is I was in about a level 10, and with this particular system, I went from a 10 to an 8 to a 6 in 40 minutes.
Wow.
So it was life-changing for me.
Yeah.
And I still do that today.
Yeah.
I do it in the store.
How often do you personally do those? Or like how often can you get the ionic foot detox? Or how often should you, I guess I should say?
It depends on the person, depends how tactic, depends on what we're working on.
Yeah.
I have some people come in once a month. I have some people come in once a week. I have some people come in once a year. So
okay.
Really depends on the person. It's very...
I've had one before.
And did you like it?
It was pretty gross.
Yeah.
It was pretty gross. I was like, ooh, I've got a lot of stuff that I'm getting rid of. But yeah, it was definitely worth it. I could feel the difference from it.
Didn't we call it the bog of eternal stench?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
That's what it looked like.
I was just like,
yeah,
ooh.
the swamp water.
Yeah,
swamp water when you're done.
But
it's amazing that you can sweat out such stuff.
Yeah, it was incredible. I was like, wow, this is definitely a different thing, because I've suffered through having vertigo and different things like that, and adrenal issues, and so it was different when I had gotten it done. I'm like, yeah, I actually feel better. I do.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's cool. I like to learn about all these different things, because we're in a society where we get medications kind of just pushed right away, and we're so used to that because we grow up with going to the doctor and, here, take this, you'll feel better, here, take this, so it's nice to learn these different healthier ways. So
I think it used to be remedies were passed down word of mouth, family, mom, daughter, and that's just not the way our culture is today.
Unfortunately. So well, that's cool. And you were telling me some quite incredible stories about what else you've gone through with that.
Well, so back to 2006, when I was in migraines all the time, I was married for 27 years.
Yeah.
And the marriage was really being stressed out at the time.
Yeah.
We were going through a lot of things, and I think that certainly contributes. And the thing about it was I was married to my best friend.
Yeah.
Love of my life. He walked in the room, and the air just was cleaner and sweeter, and it was just wonderful.
Yeah.
And he was my partner in life. He was my business partner. He was my dance partner. He was my canoe partner. He was my parent partner.
Right.
We had 3 kids.
Oh,
we still have, we have 3 kids.
Right. Right.
And things were just deteriorating. He was having heart issues, and
there we go.
and what was really interesting is he had a genetic heart issue. His father and his 2 uncles died quite early, so he did not think he'd survive.
Yeah.
It was a heart valve issue. But he had surgery, and what was really interesting is after the surgery, and he woke up, which he didn't think he would.
Okay.
He just had it in his mind life was going to be over.
That was it.
So when he woke up and the doctor told him he had a good 20 years still, he went into an instant midlife crisis.
Oh, wow.
And said, I've got 20 years, and what am I going to do next?
Right.
And all of a sudden, his family and all the responsibilities took on a different shade of color for him.
Yeah.
And basically, he divorced us all.
Yeah.
What was really interesting is we were taking care of, he had an aging mom, and so she was the first to go. She went to live with her youngest daughter. 2 of our kids went off to college.
Wow.
That left myself and my disabled daughter, our disabled daughter, and he just wanted out. So we lost the house. We actually lost the business.
Wow.
So very stressful time. So, the migraines were
kicking on
very heavy. Yep.
Wow.
So it was really traumatic.
You're at ground zero from everything.
I was financially
just happening.
Yeah.
Wow.
In fact, I look back and I'm like, oh my gosh, after the divorce, thinking back, I had more assets. I had actually bought a car at age 16.
Yeah.
So I had more assets at 16 than I did then. It was awful starting over.
Wow.
Starting over.
And that's a huge traumatic situation. And like you said, he had gone, and then your kids are in college, and it's just you now dealing with everything that's going on and taking care of your daughter.
Yeah, my autistic daughter.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So where do you go from there?
It was, the floor fell out basically. It's like everything was gone.
I can't even begin to imagine.
And I remember we actually so we had a company. Mm-hmm. We had a house on a lake. Wow. We had 3 great kids. We just had, I thought we had the perfect life, perfect relationship. I couldn't think of how much better life could be.
Right.
Married to your best friend. Yeah. Partner in everything. So it was really quite traumatic. I remember sitting on the shore of the lake, thinking if I just swam and swam and swam and swam, at some point I'd be so tired and I wouldn't be able to make it back. And,
right.
The kids wouldn't know that it was on purpose.
Right.
I didn't do that, obviously.
Right. I'm glad you're still here. I'm glad you're here. But I can imagine at that time thinking something like that.
I think suicide is simply most people just want the pain to end. Right. It's really not that they want to hurt themselves. I think it's just they want the pain to end.
And I know a lot of times people will ask with suicide about hurting other people. Like it always seems to turn into, well, if you leave, that's going to hurt so and so, and you're going to leave this behind as well. And I don't think at that point that you're really thinking about any of that.
No, you just want things to be different. You want the pain to be gone.
Right.
And I think if you can think of what the next step could possibly be, people can get past it,
get through that.
And so for me, it was leaving. I had to leave my hometown of Traverse City. Yeah. It's where we raised the kids, where the house was, where the business was, where all my friends were.
Yeah.
And that helped me. Just a complete change of environment. But it was still rough.
Yeah, that's still traumatic because now you're uprooting completely where you built your whole life and everything that you were looking towards.
Yep.
So when you left from there, did you end up moving around this area?
Actually, to Frankenmuth.
Oh, okay.
Yep. Right. My mom and my sister were here, and it was a godsend. And my autistic daughter's best friend was in Clio, so it worked out really well. Nice. Actually,
really cool.
Think, God was watching over me.
Yeah, for sure. Mm-hmm. For sure. And then after all, where did you go once you got here? Like, how did you get into working with, like, at Healthy Habits and the different things that you were learning, or was that your next step after rebuilding, or?
It was, I had a little stint with a biofeedback company.
Okay.
Because with my daughter, it was evident that we had to do alternative things. Mm-hmm. A lot of traditional stuff did not work for her. So she was blessed in terms of being autistic that she wouldn't eat bad food.
Yeah.
And it was so funny because at the Autistic Resource Network, 95% of all the parents had problems with their kids eating things they shouldn't eat.
Oh, really?
And she'd rather starve than put something in her mouth that wasn't food. And what wasn't food was artificial color, nitrates.
Wow.
Basically anything in a box.
Yeah.
So if you couldn't look at it and say, oh, that's an apple or a banana, or,
right. She didn't
eat it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Wow.
So I cooked from scratch since she was a baby.
Yeah.
So that was real helpful. She had some other challenges, so we had to find like a kinesiologist, chiropractor to help with muscles. She had functional scoliosis. It was It was a challenge, but the thing was that led us down a path of alternative health and wellness.
Right.
Because traditional medicine was real positive for her when she had to have surgeries, when she had to have therapies. But after that, we were on our own.
Right.
And so learning alternative therapies, alternative options was incredible. Yeah. And so I had that experience and then got to apply it to my own self.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep. Which is cool. I mean, that's cool to be able to learn how to navigate through that, and then also, like you said, apply it to yourself and learn the different ways to keep healthy, and not be just relying on one medical source. So that's cool. It's very cool.
Yep. So so at first I started drawing at night. It was the only way I could get myself to sleep. So I actually am going next month to get certified in art therapy.
Yeah. I remember you telling me a little bit about that, and I thought that was really super cool. And what is it called again?
It's called Zentangle.
Okay.
Yep.
That's very cool.
So it's in 30 countries, and there's over 3,000 instructors. So it's very exciting. I already have several places that want me to come teach.
That is awesome. Yeah. Congratulations.
It's fun.
That's cool. So you're able to get certified. Were you offered like a scholarship or something?
I did.
That's very cool.
Yeah, they offered me a scholarship to come out to Rhode Island. And
it's just like a therapeutic.
It's a therapy. Yeah.
It's so cool.
It's called Zentangle because it has a quieting, calming effect.
Nice.
It's abstract. So it's not like I'm drawing a giraffe and, oh my gosh, the giraffe doesn't look like a giraffe. It looks like a horse. No, it's actually all abstract. And so there's no right or wrong. There's no up or down.
So a person who draws stick figures for a living could probably do this.
Well, if they do it for a living, for sure.
Well, I'm talking strictly stick figures.
So the thing is, there's four shapes you have to draw.
Okay.
A dot.
Okay.
A circle.
Okay.
A line. And a squiggle like a S. And that's it.
Wow.
And they're gorgeous. They're absolutely gorgeous. I mean, it's about applying one stroke at a time.
Okay.
Calming the mind and getting into a creative, peaceful mode. So that's why they call it Zentangle.
Zentangle. Okay. So it's more doodle than it is
very
drawing.
Yeah, very doodle.
Cool. That sounds.
But it sounds weird that you'd get certified in doodling, but
yeah,
it's so calming. And if you look them up, you'll see they're just beautiful pieces of art.
I was going to say, well, I was the person in class taking doodles on my notes because drawing something during class was
calming,
more interesting than lectures sometimes, but it would help me remember what was being talked about because, going up on a test, I'm like, oh yeah, that's when I was drawing hearts. And I'm like, okay, so I had the material down.
What's really interesting is there are studies that show that they're starting to use it with challenged kids to help them focus and learn.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That is interesting.
That is cool. Well, so where did you learn about this?
Yeah.
I was, like I said, I'd actually become basically homeless when I left Traverse City. My sister allowed me a room in her house, and to get to sleep, I would doodle. And I came across it one night on the internet, and it grabbed me, it engaged me, and it calmed me down. And so for a year, that's how I put myself to sleep.
Wow, that is incredible. If
I have a book coming too.
Oh, very cool!
Wow,
an adult coloring book, basically of
please
mandalas.
Please share that when you get that up and running. Please share that. Also, if you don't mind, after the show, if you can send me a couple of your pictures, I'd love to share them with our listeners.
Oh, sure.
Yes,
that would be so cool. And then that way, you guys can. That is neat. So you guys can see what we're talking about, and that'd be really cool. That's exciting.
Yeah. And we'll make sure to post those examples plus anything else that we can find about this Zentangle so the listeners can see it.
Sure.
Yeah.
I'm just
I know.
updating a couple things.
Yeah.
But you multitask.
I understand.
Here.
Yes, we do multitask here.
So that was helpful.
That's really cool.
That was helpful. That got me through that initial period. And then I decided that I needed to move on from that job. And I was real blessed to find an opening at Healthy Habitz. So it was really interesting because when I applied for the position, they said, well, you're overqualified. And I'm like, yes, I know, but
I really want this.
My family's here.
Yeah.
And my daughter's best friend is here. And this is, reaching out, connecting, helping people, sharing my knowledge, helped me get through what I needed to get through.
Yep. And that's incredible. I've heard that quite a bit lately with people, and those are the kind of people like I like to have surrounded, to be around, because that's where we're at too. We want to be able to help other people out. And I'm thankful that, we actually got into the conversation over there, because I love going over to Healthy Habitz. You guys have so much stuff that, you could pretty much find any alternative, anything really.
We do a lot of research. We look at human studies. We have a real high bar over there.
Yeah, and it's incredible. Right down to even like zero waste things, like your the sandwich baggies and stuff that you can reuse, so you're not using so much waste. It's like a reusable silicone, and I thought that was cool too. Plus, you have the metal straws. Oils, all kinds of really great food that is actually really good for you. And for someone like me with a gluten allergy, it's a blessing. So I thank you guys for that, because it's really hard to find that stuff. So that's cool. And I'm glad that you guys are there.
And the good, wholesome organic spices.
Yes.
Organic spices.
Yes.
So, and that's just incredible that you guys are there. And now you guys are in a new building even.
We are. We've been there a year now.
You were at the other one too,
yes.
weren't you? I thought so.
Yep.
So
we've been there a year in the new building. And still on Main Street, so that's pretty cool, on the North Main Street.
The new frontier.
Yes.
You guys are kind of the new frontier now. So if you guys have ever been over to Healthy Habitz and you have not seen where the new store is, it is still there. They're still around. It's just going out of town towards Frankenmuth Credit Union, past there.
Right.
Yep. And that's actually where the building is at. It's
we're basically, if you're headed north, the last business in Frankenmuth.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so don't miss out on that, you guys. Go check that out. They always have a lot of different specials and
classes,
everything. That's awesome. So, but I'm that's where I first initially had seen you from, was there. So I'm glad that we ran into each other and that you're here now. So that's me just going on a rant.
Yes, thank you. Thank you.
But I like to talk about that place. I tell all kinds of people about there, and Dig Cafe.
I was going to say, she's dragged me into Healthy Habitz as well.
Yes.
Oh, good.
Yes.
Of course I have.
Of course she has.
Good.
And she's like, look, Becky, this is gluten-free and this is gluten-free. And I think we took a couple of young girls in there, and they just stared at the wall of candy that they could sample. The ice chips. And just sat there and like, oh, I want to try this flavor. I want to try this. So they sat there, and I think they sampled every single tin.
Yes, they could.
Yeah, that they could.
Yeah, so. But yeah, so and more into that's where you kind of launched from.
Well, when we were talking, one of the things we have is something called Bach flower remedy.
Yes.
And after I had started working for Healthy Habitz, because I continue to get certified, I continue to research, continue to educate myself so that we can bring that back to the customers.
Yeah.
And one of the things that the store had sent me on was a Bach flower workshop.
Okay.
And I was sharing with you how traumatic it was for me. It was a particularly difficult weekend, and I was there in the workshop by myself, and it was one of those days. It was really a tough day. I was near tears a lot. It was a real struggle to just function that day, and I was late because I misplaced things and however it happened. And so when I walked in, they escorted me way down to the front row because, of course, being late, the only seats available are right in the front row. Yeah. And so now I'm in the front row. Mm-hmm. So if I get up and leave, or if I cry, everybody's going to see me.
Yeah.
So And it was a Bach flower workshop. And I'm like, why am I here? What have I done to myself? They've paid this. I'm getting paid to be here. I better, like tough it through. And I just remember if I would have had a hoodie, I would have like thrown it over my head.
Yes.
But I was like hunkered down and I was burying my face in the paper. And it's like, oh, please just don't cry, Susan. Just listen. You can get through this. And what I learned was Dr. Bach, he was a surgeon physician in England in the late 1800s, early 1900s. Mm-hmm. And he actually had discovered a couple of probiotics, which he's not known for that discovery. What he is known is for his Bach flower remedies. And when people would come up into his estate and they would walk across the English gardens and things, mm-hmm. He would notice people with particular problems would kind of veer off and into a bush or a tree or a flower. And it's like, well, that person really has a problem with fear, or that person is really depressed, or that person. And he sort of like made this correlation. Mm-hmm. And then he started systematically studying it. And he originally came up with like 17 or 18 and expanded it over his lifetime to 38. Wow. And so what was really interesting is that the workshop leader had us fill out this questionnaire. Mm-hmm. And as you went through the questionnaire, can I read a couple? Because I brought.
Yeah, sure. Yes, please do. I'm smiling because I had taken that home with you. And if you've seen my sheet, you would. Yeah. So go ahead.
So to help determine which might be for you, you would go through this questionnaire, mm-hmm. and if you checked like all three, each flower, each of the 38 flowers, trees or shrubs, has a question attached. So, for example, honeysuckle. So, these are the three questions that goes with honeysuckle. I am often homesick for the way it was. I think more about the past than the present. I often think about what might have been. So honeysuckle was a real strong remedy for me because I was stuck in the past. I missed him. It was so funny because he had told me that he didn't know what he wanted, but he knew it wasn't this. Yeah. And so he was off to try to find whatever that was he wanted. Mm-hmm. And, sometimes I think, if he would have left me for like another woman, it would have been so much easier to handle. He left me for like this unknown adventure. Like I'm going to launch myself and figure me out. And so that was a really good remedy for me. Anyway, so in the workshop, I went through the questionnaire, and we picked. Dr. Bach had noticed that if you did more than 7, they became ineffective. Okay. So I picked my 6. And in the workshop, we made the remedy. Mm-hmm. We added it to our water, and then we sipped on it throughout the lecture. And she would say, okay, like 10 minutes later, go ahead and sip. And everybody would sip. And I'm still at this point, I had made the remedies for myself, my personalized remedy, and I'm still like buried in the paper. And after a couple of, maybe 20 minutes, like I could feel my whole body language changed. Mm-hmm. I sat up straighter. I wasn't worried about the tears spilling over. And I started looking at other people like, did you hear what she just said? That was really good. Did you write that down? Yeah. And I, looking at, that's, this is really great stuff. And at the end of the lecture, I had my arms up on the chairs. I'm taking up big body space. I'm like, this is great. And I'm feeling like my old self again. Right. I'm feeling powerful. I'm feeling in control. The black cloud just evaporated. Yeah. And it was incredible. That's and cool. So ever since that experience, I often use Bach flower remedies. Because it originated with a surgeon, there are times where it's important to get actual medical help. Right. But in terms of handling your emotions, to be able to be yourself, but yet be more confident, in control. And now you're making decisions not from a place of desperation or fear. You're making it from, this is good for me. Yeah.
And that's incredible.
Yeah.
That is very cool. And is that something that you were certified in as well for that, or how does that?
No, I've taken workshops.
Okay.
To get certified, you actually go to England.
That's right. You were saying that.
So
that would be incredible.
It's on my life list.
That's awesome.
It's on my life list.
But that spelling for Bach is BACH. So if you're looking for that, we'll try to add that to the Survivor Girl as well, so you guys can check that out. And those are available at Healthy Habitz, and that's something that you specialize in.
And June, actually, if you didn't know this, is kind of to my heart. PSTD.
Okay.
So post-traumatic stress syndrome. PTSD. Sorry,
that's okay.
Dyslexia sits in sometimes.
It's all right. It happens with the best.
With all the acronyms, I do it all the time too. So you're fine.
Good.
You're in good company.
So Wednesday, June 20th, we are going to have a class just for people who've gone through trauma, whether they be veterans or abuse in the home, or even car accidents, any trauma.
Right.
So that's going to be a great class, and we're going to go through. Everybody's going to be able to go through their own sheets. We're going to make our own remedies, and we're going to talk about the difference in trauma between sudden trauma and slow trauma, because actually people heal differently.
Okay.
So sudden trauma would be like a car accident, and people in the car die, and you're the survivor, and now you have to deal with it. Long-term trauma could be through the war, or a bad home situation.
Okay.
And it actually affects our brain physically. There's MRIs and different studies that show that trauma when you get into where it becomes less than a normal response, actually physically changes the brain.
Wow.
So dealing with it is important.
Wow. So that's going to be when was that again?
It's Wednesday, June 20th.
June 20th. Okay.
Wednesday, June 20th.
Okay. Well, we can post that link too.
Do we have to register?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, space is limited.
So you must register. Is there a fee for that?
No.
It's free. So you just register.
Healthy Habits often has free classes, to educate the community. Yep.
And we'll be able to find that on their website, Facebook page.
Absolutely.
All right.
Both. Yep.
Both.
Awesome. That is cool. We will go ahead and put that link there for you guys to see that too. And hopefully that we can get people in that are needing this class.
Yes.
And there's a lot of times that things happen and some people just don't recognize that that's something that they need, or they don't admit it. So maybe by sharing this and trying to help people to see that it is available, maybe we'll be able to get them there.
Well, I wouldn't have even known it was a thing.
Right.
I mean, if I had not been working for Healthy Habits, I had never heard of it before.
Right.
And so, getting the awareness out.
That's important. And that is definitely an important. So yeah. There's a question. Can anyone with trauma show up to the event?
Absolutely.
Okay. ASL. Oh, yeah. So that's that was one of the questions. All right. Perfect. So that's for anybody. And
men, women, and children.
Okay. All right. Perfect. We'll be able to put that up there and see if we can get some people there.
Yes.
So very cool. I'm glad that you guys do stuff like that.
So the Bach flower remedies is they take the it's kind of a weird, like the essence of the flower, and it distills into a water alcohol base. And Dr. Bach actually used a brandy base.
Okay.
And so the traditional ones are still made the way that he made them. And so there've never been any known recorded interactions with medications or sensitivities for people. So people who are very sensitive, there's just been no known interactions whatsoever.
Oh, wow.
Other than positive.
Right. That's incredible. Very cool.
I was just checking online. It's June 12th.
Thank you, June 12th. Yes.
There we go.
Thank you for that correction.
And I will be sharing that to our page.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Becky's incredible with doing that stuff. I'm the one that's like, yeah, we're going to do it. And Becky's like, I got it done. All right. Perfect. Thank you.
We're going to do it. I'm like, yep, I've got it done.
I need a Becky in my life.
Yes.
Sorry, I'm only one.
There can only be one.
I'm like the Tigger. I am the only one.
Yes. Well, that's cool. So that's, like you said, that's coming up. And that is that class that is with the Bach flower
It is
remedy
with the
for
Bach
it.
flowers.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. And that's just pretty much for anybody who's able to go ahead and sign up. We'll be able to, as long as there's seats available.
Yes.
So cool. Very cool. And that's neat that you went to it. I see so many times I've had that issue where I'm just like, oh, I need to get up, I need to get ready, or I'm running behind, or I fight with myself to go do something because whatever it is that I'm going through internally, it's hard to get to some of those things, to do those things. And like you said, once you went and you did the remedy and everything, you started to feel more like yourself. And I think that's important for people to remember. If it's something that you really don't want to do, I usually feel like 9 times out of 10, it turns out to be a good thing that you went.
Yeah, for whatever reason, there's some resistance going on.
Yes. Usually that's kind of like the whole fear quote. When if you're fearing something, it usually means that you are going in the right direction.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. I had come across something one time. It was like inactivity breeds fear, but action cures fear.
Oh, I like that.
So once you make a decision, take a step, that momentum actually dispels the fear. It's interesting.
That's a good thing to remember. That is a good thing. That's a very cool quote too. So once you got into doing the Bach flowers, and was there other things that helped you along the way with that, or while you were going through everything and rebuilding yourself?
I think between the ionic foot spa, which was reducing my pain, the Bach flowers, which helped me move forward. I did do some essential oils too.
Yeah. Those are incredible.
Those are incredible. Yeah. And I think that's, I don't want to get into too many different bits and pieces.
Right.
But between the ionic foot spa for pain and the Bach flowers for the emotional stability.
Yeah.
It was great.
Yeah.
It was great.
And you found what worked best for you through what you were going through. And sometimes that's the that's part of the battle, is being able to realize what it is that you might need and to admit it sometimes. I think that's a hard thing when you're at ground zero, to admit what kind of
how do you rebuild?
How do you rebuild?
Whoa, everything. How do you rebuild everything? And I had this irrational fear, this anxiety, this terror, because he basically woke up and said, "Oh, I don't want this."
Wow.
And so I had this irrational fear with my kids that if that they would wake up and go, "Gosh, I don't think I want you anymore, Mom."
I can imagine
and
that.
so it took me about 3 years to get out of it. I mean, just fearful to pick up the phone, fearful to see them, fearful that this is going to be it.
Right.
And when I shared that, I think also too, fears unspoken get bigger. Because when I finally said something to my kids, they all looked at me like, "Mom, that's the craziest thing I've heard of. Love you so much. Why would you even, you love me, I love you. Where did that come from?" And I knew where it came from. It came from because I felt so blindsided.
Yeah. Yeah. When you get knocked off your feet like that, it's easy to start having those kind of fears and start worrying about,
questioning everything.
But it's so good that you're able to, when you can get to that point to communicate that. I think that's the biggest step that you can make, is admitting that. So that's hard.
Taking action and verbalizing, and the fear just really dissipates.
Yeah.
It's being brave enough and strong enough to actually confront that.
Yeah. It's not easy sometimes, but if you guys are listening, if you're stuck right there at that point where you don't know where to turn, or you don't know if you're going to be able to keep pushing through, just try to communicate with somebody that, whether they're close or not, or maybe it's somebody, sometimes even talking to a complete stranger is freeing. I know that sounds kind of funny probably, but I've had several conversations with people that I didn't even know that have opened up to me, and vice versa, so, and that's very therapeutic too, in the fast pace and everything, the world that we live in right now.
It's okay to say, "I'm not okay."
It is okay.
Yeah.
It is okay.
Yeah.
And I look back and I think, because I had sat on the shore of the lake one too many times, I probably should have admitted myself at that point in time. I didn't. I just got up and moved. Right. But, help is there.
Yeah. There's different forms. Recently I actually had posted on the Survivor Girl podcast page, Facebook page. It's kind of a post that has several different phone numbers and different things that if you're looking for help, you're able to go ahead and try to get, call those numbers to get help.
Yes.
And, don't be ashamed of that. Don't be afraid to reach out no matter what. I mean, there's people that are out there purposely to help people that are going through those things.
We're sitting on the edge.
It takes a brave person to pick up that phone and ask for help, but they need to know that the person on the other side is there because they want to be there.
Right.
Exactly.
I was going to say, and I know in some cases they're there because they've been on the edge themselves.
Right.
And have had somebody kind enough to reach out and say, hey, you're not okay now, but you will be.
Yeah.
So.
And when it's hard to see that, it's hard to see that you might not, or that you're feeling like you might not be able to keep going. Just remember, another day, the next day, another hour, 5 hours could be
get through the next minute,
get
through the next hour, get through the next day, then it's the next week, then it's the next month.
And look how far you've come from that situation and where you were. So it's hard to fight. It's hard to move forward, especially in like your situation,
Yeah. He was the love of my life.
Right.
And when I look back, I really feel like I had the perfect relationship.
Yeah.
I had the best friend. We worked together. I said we danced together. We
just
canoed together. We had our kids together.
Right.
I mean, it was,
it was everything that you wanted.
That I dreamed and I held dear.
Yeah.
Yep. We built the house together. Actually, physically, we actually literally built the house together.
Yeah.
It took us like 7 years.
Wow.
So, yep. We hauled rock everything. And we hauled lumber, and I tiled and I painted, and he
wow,
hammered things together,
and even to this day, like she's still just beaming as she talks about everything through it all. And I'm sure in the beginning that was not easy to still keep that smile that you have, but while she's talking about building everything, I can still see the glow from that.
Yeah, because it was wonderful.
And that's hard. That's another hard thing.
It was wonderful.
That is another hard thing that people don't realize, that even though it turned out to be at ground zero and that you had to rebuild, you can still remember the happy times and the good times. But, if it's a situation that you need to move from, in another instance, that you can still continue to move from, even though you can still hold those moments dear. Just because things might have changed, it doesn't mean that at that point in time when you were happy, that you can't still smile about that situation. That's the hard thing too. And there's a lot of different difficult things, when you're trying to move on, move forward.
I think it takes some, I don't want to say maturity, but it takes some getting with peace.
Yeah.
At what happened.
Yeah.
And to say, that's not what I would have picked for myself. But it's okay. I still have my kids who now I know love me through thick and thin.
Yeah.
I've won a couple of scholarships. I have people who invite me to talk. I love sharing. It's amazing just to be able to connect and encourage people and motivate people and inspire people, and it's a good thing. It's a really good thing.
And because of the situation that you have gone through, you're here with us tonight to share with people that need to hear this, to know that it's okay to keep moving forward, and it's incredible. And that, I can't thank you enough, and I can't thank our guests enough for coming on and sharing these stories. I mean, it was such a hard thing for you in the beginning to deal. And, from where you said that you were sitting on the shore, and now you're here and you have touched, I imagine, so many people's lives. And that's incredible. And you're still moving on to keep doing more things to be able to continue to help people.
To be a positive influence.
That's incredible. Yes. That is such a cool thing. And, I went through divorce, and it was a totally different situation. In the beginning, I felt like we were very, very much suited in love, and, when things changed, he dropped off. He felt different as well. We got married. We were having troubles before we ended up getting married. And in my mind, I was like, if we get married, this can fix. Not at all. And this is, oh man, almost 12 years ago. So I'm not the same Heather that I used to be. And I thought, well, if we get married, this can fix. If we get this house, it'll fix, and I kept on trying to pile on things to hold it down. And that's just, in the end, it turned out to the point where I was like, I can't keep doing this. I can't keep moving forward with it. I made it to the point where I told him one day, he went to go give me a kiss, and I said, I want a divorce. Hardest, harsh thing that I probably ever did, but I couldn't hold it back anymore. And that was pretty rough. We just built everything. Like, we got the house, we were working hard and everything. And I just couldn't take it anymore. We had drifted. He was a completely different person. And I was going in a different direction. And now I definitely see it, And at that time, it felt like anytime I sang or I did anything that I just enjoyed and I loved, that made me, it's like it irritated him that I might be outshining or whatever. And I was like, I will never do that again. So I moved on, and I'll be honest, I would do it over and over again because of where I am and who I am today. So, I mean, that's two different situations, where being on opposite ends of it, but my life is so different.
I think there's a maturity that comes with, in terms of a couple, knowing that you're not out to fix the other person. You just have to accept them for who they are.
Then that's not easy either.
And it's not easy. And in terms of, accepting him for my kid's dad. And we do occasionally talk. And it's like trying to accept him and the choices he's made and where he's gone, and still wish him peace and love and, go be happy, but go be happy over there.
Go do your thing. and I was at that point too, where we actually, like, I came to the point where I forgave him for the stuff that happened in our marriage. And then I believe that, he forgave me for having to move forward. And, we've talked, we still have a conversation once in a while. It's not, and we didn't have kids together or nothing, but we stay civil. And when you see people that actually had kids together and stay civil with each other and are for the greater good of the kids, that's incredible too. That takes a lot. It takes a lot to be able to not use your children as a weapon, a tool. It takes a lot to.
I've seen that a lot where children.
It's hard on the kids.
The other
so
parents.
hard.
And it really is.
Yeah, it's heartbreaking to see that because that's not why they're here. And, and later on in life, I feel like it's going to turn around and bite them in the butt.
You've got to stand up and advocate for the children. In that case.
My kids are grown. They're adults. But I can still see the heartbreak that they had. In terms of them being very happy, them having, a great set of parents who would go swimming with them, that go boating and fishing and hiking and
probably vacations,
and attending the, music recitals and just doing everything a family does together.
Right. I'm sure that was a tough time too through all of that, to go from thinking just like everything was great, and for that to flip like that, I can't even imagine.
Definitely grieving has to take place in that.
And people grieve at their own length of time.
Yes.
Yeah, and I've witnessed that too. We both have. Through stuff that we've grieved through with the loss of parents and things. Some people just feel like you need to go through it, and you should be done. You should be done. You should be done. And it's like, oh no. If you rush it,
it doesn't happen.
It doesn't, and I
still cry in Walmart sometimes. So.
Yeah, me too.
Why Walmart?
Used to go there all the time with my father.
Okay,
and he's not even a year gone yet. So brings back a lot of memories. I mean, everyone would say hi to him and so forth. So going in there is awfully quiet now.
Yeah.
So yes, I cry in Walmart. So
yeah, I mean, when grief finds you, I always said that grief was like a roller coaster. You never knew when the up was going to be or when the down was going to be, and never knew where you were going to be at when you go through it.
I was going to say, it's always great when the down finds you in bed, but it's
right
when you're in the middle of a store.
Yeah, yeah, or driving
or a workshop,
or a workshop,
or a workshop. Yeah, no, I mean, and it's true though. I feel like I think we put too many time limits on ourselves.
Yeah.
Just in general, because of how fast-paced life is. And then, of course, the saying life is too short. I know we've all heard that. I know we've all tried, we've lived probably by that at some point. And it is. I mean, it's not, we don't know. We have no idea when we're, not going to be here. But I think the time limits get to be too stressful on the lives that we're trying to live sometimes. I feel like it's the fast pace and, we got to get this done by this, that we don't really get to enjoy a lot of the things that we need to, or experience a lot of things that we need to. I don't know. I guess that's
I think sometimes we sabotage our own joy. I mean,
I know I do.
Yes.
In terms of maybe some parents could relate to this, but when my kids were really tiny, and you look in their little crib and they're so beautiful and they're happy sleeping and they smell good and, peace is there. And you look at them and you go, life could get no better than this moment in time. And then all of a sudden you think of, but what if this were to happen?
Yeah.
What if that were to happen? And it's like you sabotage your own joy sometimes. And it's just getting through that and realizing that, no, that's an irrational thought. I'm going to enjoy right now this peace, this joy.
And that is one of
this person.
That is one of my things too. I'm good at that. I'm good at overthinking and self-sabotaging. I really am. I need
a
some
back remedy for that.
I believe so. I'm seriously thinking. I'm seriously thinking about coming to one of your workshops.
Probably going to be on June 12th.
Yeah, I hear you. Yeah. Let me see. I'm just looking to see if there's anything that's coming in from the chat tonight. Yeah, I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know.
I don't know.
There's usually some stuff going on in there tonight, but I'm not reading that properly, I suppose. So if you could please re-ask that question, then I can ask it. So, I get you about, I agree with Becky. I'm probably going to be joining you.
Yeah.
I think too, as a survivor from cancer, I think you get some of the PTSD as well.
Yeah.
Because it is scary. Like anytime I go in for the checkup, I get moody. And I hate that I do that because I'm scared. I get scared that I'm going to go in, they're going to find something again, and that can stop you in your tracks too. We do the irrational fears. I mean, I guess that's not too over irrational, but I mean, when the things you go through, you grow through.
Right.
I've seen that. The things you go through, you grow through. And PTSD it doesn't just go away.
No.
It's not something that can just go away.
Exactly. I was going to say, for a while, I haven't been able to figure out why I get so intense and closed in spaces, but I'm pretty sure that the car accident where I was pinned in the car has a lot to do with that.
Sure.
So, I mean, all of a sudden feeling closed in and stuff. And I'm just like, ooh, this is not cool. What's going on? So that's why this workshops might be very helpful.
And it's really interesting when I was doing research for it to find studies that show that the brain physically changes.
Yeah.
So you're hardwiring that fear.
Yeah.
If you think about it as a survivor mechanism, if it's a life and death, saber-toothed tiger coming, you don't want to sit there and think, gosh, is that dangerous? No, you want your body to instantly react
yes.
and move. And so we're hardwired to have that fear so that we get ourselves out of the situation.
Right.
Except in today's world, it doesn't serve us.
Yes, because saber-toothed tigers don't roam the earth anymore.
Yeah.
Right.
Last time I checked.
Yeah, but
they might do the whole Jurassic Park thing. I don't know. That's a bad idea. I'm just putting it out there.
Very bad idea. Yes.
Not a good idea. So yeah.
So when you know that it's your brain is trying to protect you.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't make it any easier.
No, but you're kind of like, okay, this is why I'm feeling this way.
I'm not really a crazy person.
Yeah, I'm not. Well, this is me we're talking about. I could be.
Yeah, I feel like that too sometimes. I'm just like, okay, what is rational? What is not?
Yeah.
Why am I overthinking? What's happening here?
Exactly.
But that's part of also being human. I mean, when you've gone through and you've dealt with so many different things, which I'm not alone here. We all have
stuff.
We all have stuff. And that's another reason why we do this podcast, because like I said, so you're not alone. You're not alone. Okay, maybe you're not a crazy person, because we're sharing our stories. We're sharing what we've gone through, and hopefully inspiring to let you know that you're not alone, and you can get through this. 5 hours from now may be completely different from this moment where you may not be feeling like you can make it, because you can, and you can overcome it. And this is totally something different. But my young cousin, who is extremely smart. She's actually a scientist. But I love her way of thinking sometimes, because she says to me, I don't understand why people would want to be done with life. Why would they want to miss out on seeing their family, seeing their their future, chocolate ice cream, good music, these different things, and
the simple things,
and the way that she had put it, I was like, I never really thought about that. And I think at those times when you're feeling that way, you don't think about that stuff.
You really don't know.
But if you could stop and just think today, like some of your favorite things that you have, some of those things that bring you joy in life, whether it's, your grandma, that you get to go and have coffee with, or your best friend that you could go hang out at a Gypsy Goddess festival with, and sell incredible soap, or or do this,
a simple hot shower.
Sometimes those things might just put you in a better mood.
Piece of paper and a pencil.
There you go. Untangle.
Can't get simpler than that.
Right. I mean, just give yourself a little bit of time before you jump in, and before you quickly decide on something. Just give yourself a second. And if it is just reaching out to a friend, they may not understand what it is that you're going through. But if you reach out, you might have that conversation that just might turn you around and where you need to be. Exactly. I just want to take a minute, because we've recently heard of a couple different people that have actually have ended their life at really young ages. Yes. One of my acquaintances that I've known, his daughter was only 20 years old. And I wanted to put it out there that I'm sorry for your loss right now. And, I wish I could wrap you in a big hug and tell you that I understand what you're going through, but I don't. And that's another thing, just reach out if you can. Just stop for a minute and try to reach out.
And then a really good friend of mine lost a friend who was 36 because she just wanted out. So
just to end the pain.
A friend of mine, Barb Smith, is a suicide survivor. Her brother committed suicide, and she leads workshops that teach friends, family, co-workers. One workshop's called Safe Talk, because a lot of times if somebody brings suicide up, the other person has no clue what to say.
Right.
And there's actually, if you have someone in your family that is, you worry about that, she's a great resource. And that workshop's coming up this summer too.
Okay.
So she has a big annual in Frankenmuth every year, and she's her whole support network is dedicated to her brother, and she's going on decade plus of support for suicide survivors.
And we'll definitely share that information.
Yeah, and we'll pass that information along. Sometimes just being able to know the right things to say, or if you notice too, can help somebody to continue going as well. So we're grateful for you being here today and sharing your story, the resources, everything, and just incredible to hear that you're going to be doing the Zentangled and all of the things that you have shared with us, the Bach flowers. And if you guys can check this stuff out, Susan is very informative, along with the other people that are
And
at
staff.
Staff at Healthy Habits. Go in there, and if you guys are going through something, they can try to direct you in the right direction to get some help with whether it's homeopathic or Bach flowers or even your diet. I mean, they have a vast knowledge of everything.
Food is powerful.
It is very much so, and I'm learning that because we had a discussion about the adrenal gland things that are going on. But it is very powerful and just incredible. Thank you for sharing your story.
Yes.
Thank you for inviting me to be here. It was a real honor.
Yeah, we are so glad that you're able to be here. And to the listeners, thank you so much for tuning in.
Yes.
This is episode number 5.
Yes.
And we will be back again next Sunday.
As always, be better, not bitter.
Yep. And remember, guys, life is best lived.